What's cracking, guys? Bruce Madsen here, your host show of Metro Scout Fantasy Football. I just did a mock draft that just went off the rails. We had players going all over the board, a few crazy picks in the first round, a few crazy ones in the second round. Totally different than what we're used to seeing. It was one QB, and went for 2 rounds, and we had some crazy picks. And you know what? Usually if I saw a crazy mock draft, I wouldn't share it. But I figured the crazy ones are actually the ones we should be looking at, because these ones are going to give us those weird picks that allow the board to look a lot different, giving you guys a different view of what a draft could look like, because it's not going to be like ADP in most drafts. You're going to have a guy get bumped up, you're going to have a guy slide, and next thing you know, things are going to be a little different, and then you're going to have to adjust from there. This draft is like that, but on steroids, and I'm proud to show it to you because it's so ugly, it's beautiful. But with that being said, let's dig into this mock draft. It's time to hit up the first round of this draft. Let's get it started with the 101. First player off the board here is Breece Hall. He's earned a 101 pick, 101 skilled player, top running back, top out of the running backs and receivers. He's going to be the 101 in most fantasy drafts. There's no surprise here. 102, Garrett Wilson, wide receiver from Ohio State, one of the top wide receivers in this class. It's going to be a first-round selection. Good ball skills, good short area quickness, good route running, gives you all the goods. 103, third player off the board in this first round, Kenneth Walker, running back from Michigan State. I expect him to get a bump in value in rookie drafts, mainly because he's a running back. He's going to get the draft capital, has production, did well at the combine. I expect him to get up in this range somewhere in most drafts. To the 104, next player off the board is wide receiver Drake London, wide receiver from USC. A lot of people has him as the wide receiver one in this draft. There are some good things in his game. He can get downfield, he glides, he has good footwork, good lateral ability, moves really well for his size, good ball skills, former basketball player, will get first-round draft capital, and will be one of the first wide receivers selected, if not the first wide receiver selected. Down to the 105 pick, and here is the first shocker. Another running back coming off the board, and it's James Cook, running back from Georgia. And I'm trying to wrap my head on the why. I didn't get the chance to ask this person, but imagine part of it is he's expected to get some draft capital, some burst and speed, catches the ball out of the backfield. Does he usually go in the first round? No. Does he always go in the second round even? No, but it happened here, and you're going to get drafts like this sometimes. It's going to happen sometimes. You think it doesn't, you may not, but I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. And right here, James Cook, 105. Right here, book it up. 106, sixth player off the board, Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas. Usually, this is the latter part of his range of outcomes in drafts, 106, 107. I have seen him fall a little further than that, 110 range maybe. But mostly you see him go 103, 104-ish in one QB leg. So this is a little bit drop in his value, but you're going to see players drop a little farther when you see guys jump up farther than expected in drafts. That just happens. Now headed to the 107, we got another wide receiver off the board, and it's Chris Olave, wide receiver from Ohio State. Will get first-round draft capital. Some people have him as the better Ohio State wide receiver in this draft. With him falling to the latter part of the first round, there's a good opportunity. He goes to a good team, could get good opportunity, good passes from a good premier stud quarterback. So that's something interesting to play with. That being said, we could see a bump in his value. We could also see him hover in the same area as a later first-round prospect. Moving on to the 108. And my boy got drafted. One of my boys got drafted here. And we're talking about wide receiver George Pickens from Georgia. Pure upside play here. This guy's got ball skills. He's nasty. He's aggressive. This is higher than I see him get drafted in most drafts, but I feel like this is where he should be selected in most drafts, is the 108 range, because of the upside, because of what he can do on the field, and the tape tells us everything. Metrics, he has an early breakout age at age 18. Only 3 wide receivers to do so in this draft. And honestly, if it wasn't for the ACL injury, people would be drafting him in this range, if not higher. because the talent is there. Going on to the next pick, the 109. Here we drafted Isaiah Spiller, running back from Texas A&M. Seeing him fall in some drafts lately. It makes sense. Didn't look great at the Pro Day. Didn't look great at the Combine. It's very debatable. It's been a touchy subject on social media. But the numbers are the numbers. There's also a risk of him falling in the draft. There's also a risk falling him outside of the second round, maybe outside the third round. We don't know, but that risk is there. 109 right now, with what we got on the table, one of the top running backs in this class. Can't really deny that. Can catch the ball in the backfield. Got size. We just got to wait on that draft capital. Moving on to the 110 pick. Here they drafted Jamison Williams, wide receiver from Alabama. I feel like this is a good price tag for him. He's going in this range of the draft, so if you got a late first-round pick, you may be drafting him up. You may want to trade up a few spots if you want to draft him, but Jamison Williams has 4.3 speed. He's got a lot of burst, crafty route running, good hands, can get the job done. At the 111 spot, another running back coming off the board. I'm seeing him go in the first round more often now than a few weeks ago before the Combine, and that's Rachaad White, running back from Arizona State. Dude can catch the ball in the backfield, caught like 42 balls this season, has speed, has burst, did well at the Combine, looks good running between the tackles. The only thing I'm going to caution is there's a lot of people from like big drafts saying that there's a chance he could be falling in the draft, that he can fall to day 3. If that happens, then he's not going to be worth a first-round selection. But if he gets day 2, it's good as gold because he does have that receiving ability out of the backfield. I think once you get to a certain area of the draft with these running backs, it's really pick your poison from there, and you might want to just go off of draft capital. On to 112. Last pick in the first round. Here they drafted Jahan Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State. There is some good things to hitch our wagon to. Maybe he gets first-round draft capital. Last 2 seasons, each one of those 2 years had over a 30% market share. Penn State's passing production. Has enough speed, has enough short area quickness, has enough of everything. Strong hands, can run routes over the middle. He's an alright wide receiver prospect. But that ends it for the first round. And let's recap what we just did here in the first. First player off the board was Breece Hall. Second player was Garrett Wilson. Third was Kenneth Walker. Fourth was Drake London. 5 was James Cook. 6 was Treylon Burks. 7 is Chris Olave. 8th was George Pickens. 9th was Isaiah Spiller. 10th was Jamison Williams. 11th was Rachaad White. And 12th, to round her out, Jahan Dotson. And that means we are now moving on to the second round. And here, first player off the board in the second round, and we got another shocker. Remember, it's 1 QB. This is going to be the first quarterback drafted. 201 pick. Here, we're seeing Desmond Ridder, quarterback from Cincinnati, coming off the board. I don't know what to say here. What I'm guessing here is, I'm just trying to guess what went through this person's mind. This dude saw 4.55, 40-yard dash speed, 4.5-ish speed off the Combine and thought, we got a Konami code. I'm shooting my upside. I don't like the wide receivers too well. I'm not into the running backs too well. I'm shooting my upside on the quarterback. That's probably what happened here. That, analytically, is what I think what happened, but this is way outside the norm. I don't really usually see him get drafted in the second round at all in 1 QB leagues. Maybe even the third round because quarterbacks get faded in 1 QB, but Desmond Ridder here, 201. 202, though. They made up for things. Got my boy, David Bell, wide receiver from Purdue. I don't even know if I need to say anything because you all know it. Broke out at age 18, productive throughout his entire collegiate career. Ball skills for days, route running for days. Good footwork, good everything. Failed the Combine, but that's all right. That's something you don't have to win if you got the goods. 202, David Bell. 203 here. Another wide receiver coming off the board. It's Christian Watson, wide receiver from North Dakota State. And this guy has been a big offseason winner. He killed the Senior Bowl. He killed the Combine. Put everybody on notice. Has some production from North Dakota State. Good athleticism. could transition well at the next level. To the 204, they selected Sky Moore, Western Michigan wide receiver, and this guy has good short area quickness, runs good routes, could get higher draft capital than expected. That's what Big Draft is telling us. Very nuanced player, runs a diverse route tree. Good pick here in this spot. We got another surprise pick here at the 205, and at this spot, they drafted Tyler Batty, running back from Missouri. I see him go a little later. He usually doesn't even hit the second round, maybe like 212, 211 at his highest, but there is some good things you can hitch your wagon to off his profile. Was productive, can catch the ball in the backfield, showed some burst and some speed on film. But 205, yes, it is rich for our blood, but right now with the running backs, we're just pulling strings, I guess. At 206 here, another surprise pick. This second round went nuts. And here, again, one QB league, and not even the consensus QB1 for fantasy. They selected Kenny Pickett, quarterback from Pitt. And what can I say? He's going to be drafted in the first round. He does have a little bit of an arm on him, can scramble a little bit. Will get opportunity early in his career to be a starter, put up numbers, maybe give you an ROI from this part of the draft. Do we draft quarterbacks usually in this area? Kind of not, but it happened here in this draft. You don't usually see it, but it happened here. Moving on to 207. Next player off the board, Wan'Dale Robinson, wide receiver from Kentucky. This guy is a good wide receiver, very productive. I think this is good value for him, considering his breakout age 19 at Nebraska, and then broke out again, age 20 at Kentucky. Productive this year against SEC competition. He's got some speed to get downfield, can make big catches, and what I like about him is the draft capital. You can get him on the cheap because he is not a bulletproof wide receiver, but he does have some interesting metrics in his profile. Moving on to the next player, one QB, next quarterback off the board. Here they selected Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. This part of the second round makes sense, but you just got to take away the rest of the players that everyone else left on the board. Malik Willis has got the Konami code. He can sling it downfield. He's going to be drafted in the first round. Really got to see his situation, see how he develops. He's rough around the edges. I'm not 100% in love with him. I'm not in love with this quarterback class. I'm really just going to be just jumping on value. Take the one people hate the most and just hope for the best. I like the wide receivers in this class a lot, so I'm going to be pulling strings on them. But in a 1 QB draft, 208, Malik Willis, I see him getting selected here in a few spots. Usually the value isn't too bad, but with what's left on the board, it's a little strange still. Moving on to the 209. Another one of my guys got selected, and usually he goes a lot higher than this, or a little bit higher in the second round, and it's Justin Ross, wide receiver, Clemson. And honestly, he's going to stay in the second round for me until the NFL tells us he shouldn't be. Like if he falls the 6th or 7th round, he's going to stay up there. I don't see that happening. I don't see it, but we've been wrong on prospects before. He was productive at age 19. He was productive at age 20. Spinal injury, came back, played on a horrible Clemson team, bad offense, bad quarterback play, the whole shebang. Now he's coming out for the draft. He's being discounted heavily, and honestly, I'm taking advantage of that until the NFL says, don't do it. Next player off the board, another one of my guys, one of my top running backs, and if I was ranking these players, I'd have them up higher than where he got drafted up, and that's for sure, and that's Zamir White, running back from Georgia. I see a little bit of Nick Chubb in his game, that speed, that burst. Thing is, he came back from 2 knee injuries and is still being able to produce. Splitting time, he still had a very productive career at Georgia. Is it hyper productive? No, but he showed us enough. His film looks good. He can do a little bit of everything, and now we're just waiting for that draft capital. To the 211 pick, 11th pick in the second round. Here they drafted Dameon Pierce, running back from Florida. This guy is like an underground hype machine. There's some people that love him. There's a lot of people that hate him. There's some things that is cool in his profile when you watch him on tape. He's got a lot of power at the point of contact. He's got some good contact balance and really runs through faces. When you look at his production profile, it's hindered a little bit due to some issues with the team and stuff. His production profile is a little iffy, but what you see on the film, what you've seen at the Senior Bowl is very enticing. Moving on to the 212 spot here in the draft. Last pick here, and it's Brian Robinson, running back from Alabama. And this is a sneaky pick. This is a very sneaky pick. He was productive at Alabama last year. Big back, moves well for his size, and he may get higher draft capital than expected. I'm hearing some accounts from Big Draft talking about that. He may sneak into day 2. He may sneak into that 3rd round. NFL teams likes a guy like him. He can block all right. He can nail it between the tackles. He can also catch the ball in the backfield. Brian Robinson's a sneaky play here in the late 2nd round. But honestly, after the draft, we'll know where to select him. We'll know what to do with him. But right now, it's all speculation. That's it for the 2nd round. So let's recap this round before we head on out. 201, Desmond Ridder. 202, David Bell. 203, Christian Watson. 204, Sky Moore. 205, Tyler Batty. 206, Kenny Pickett. 207, Wan'Dale Robinson. 208, Malik Willis. 209, Justin Ross. 210, Zamir White. 211, Dameon Pierce. And then 212, Brian Robinson. That's it for this 2-round rookie mock draft, 1 QB, and this is one of the strangest ones I've seen and done, participated in, one of the craziest drafts, and honestly, I gotta show you these. I gotta show you these because this could happen in some of your leagues. A lot of people are watching the shows. When you come watch this video, hundreds of people are watching. A few of these people are gonna have a league like this. They're gonna have a draft like this, or you're gonna see a draft like this, and you're gonna have to be able to react. I mean, it's gonna be easy to react. You're just gonna get your guys. But honestly, it's not always sunshine and rainbows in this draft. It's not always ADP. And if life was like that, it'd be boring. Life's not linear. These drafts aren't linear. And that's just how it is. And I'm going to cover everything. You know how it is in this show. I'll cover bad mock drafts from NFL.com. I did that the other day. I've covered good mock drafts from this place. Make fun of drafts, do everything I can just to show you guys, and at the most, I want to keep you entertained. I want to give you enough information. I also want to keep you entertained while you're watching the show because that's what you need. You need guys that give you information but keep you entertained, because if not, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Because you can just grab a rankings list and do it all on your own. You want to be entertained when you watch a show like this, so I hope I got that for you. But I want to thank you for watching the show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Every subscription fuels me to keep pumping out this content. And if you made it this far, you might as well, so you don't miss another one. I'm dropping mock drafts on the regular because we're getting close to draft time. We're getting close. Might as well keep doing it. We know these prospects. I'll come out with more profiles. I'll come out with other stuff. But we know these prospects. It's been spit at us all off season long. We know these guys. The market's what we need to know. Mock drafts are cool to run with our buddies just to get a good feel. I suggest you do a bunch of them, whether it's NFL Sleeper, wherever you do them at, spreadsheets, just hit them up. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another show. Make sure you're keyed in on this. I want to thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.